Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Did you want pets?
Hi Flosstube, my name is Emily, the Prairie Home Stitcher. I was formerly Doodle and String on Flosstube about 4 years or so ago. I had a really long hiatus for a lot of things, which I'm going to get into. Today is August 3rd, 2024. I am in Kansas now. We moved from Edmonton, Alberta to Kansas about 4 years ago. I'll just kind of explain what's been going on. So I think in my very last video I did on my other channel, I had mentioned that we were moving. And so that happened. And then just, there's been a lot going on. So I took notes just to keep me on track. So the other channel, Doodle and String, is no longer around. I just deleted that, just a clean slate, start over. So since that last video I did, I had my son, my second child, my son Sam, and I was going through a lot of postpartum struggles, some postpartum depression. Just, there was a lot I was struggling with, and I was struggling to just keep on task with everything in my life. So cross stitching definitely took a back seat, and being able to do videos, I had to make the decision to just, I couldn't do it anymore. It was too stressful at the time. So after my son's first birthday, it was around COVID started happening, and that, I mean, we did okay, but we found out that my husband's parents were very ill, that they got COVID and their health wasn't doing so great. And that started opening up the questions of, you know, what if our kids never meet their grandparents and don't have a relationship with them, and started getting us thinking about family and being 2,000 miles away from our family. So we had made the choice to try to get to Kansas during the lockdowns, which was very difficult because Canada was very strict on their border policies at the time. And God had made a way, that just the perfect window when everything fell into place. The money for the move came in, and my husband had a job opportunity. Everything just kind of fell into place all within like a couple weeks in that window of when we needed to make the drive. And so we just loaded everything up and we headed to Kansas. If you hear the cooing in the background, that's my third baby, which we will get to. So after the move, which was a lot, that was very, it was another big change. We were there for 7 years. I had 2 of my kids in Canada. So it was a lot. So after we got back there, and my in-laws were having a hard time. They were, my father-in-law had ended up with CPOD and some other issues that were making things difficult. My mother-in-law had had 2 strokes, and we really just wanted to be with them and be with our family and to help support them. So we did the move to Kansas. We had a lot of adjusting. We rented a townhouse for a little bit in a city. During that time, 2 of our pets had passed away. So my elderly 20-year-old cat that I'd had since I was in middle school had passed away just for being 20 years old. He was a very old kitty, and he had kidney problems. So he was kind of, and I know that like end stage renal failure is very painful, so we made the choice to put him down. Our second pet was our Irish Wolfhound chocolate lab mix. named Momo, and he passed away from old age again. He was about 15 years old, and for a big dog like that, that's a long time. He had a seizure, and that was it for him. So we were dealing with that loss, and my kids were very sad about losing, especially their dog. So after about 2 years in the city of renting, we had made the decision as a family that we wanted to get a place out in the country that we can build to help support my husband's parents whenever they were ready to, stay put. They like to travel, they like to go around. Even with their health conditions, they are still wanting to be active and be independent. So we bought a house out in the country on 5 acres, which is where we are right now. We can see the painter's tape. We are still trying to get some of the painting done, but it's beautiful out here. We love it. We love the country life. It's something that my husband and I have always wanted, was to be out in the country. So before our move out to the country, I had gotten very ill. I had, I think, about an infection in about 4 different locations in my upper respiratory. I had pneumonia. I couldn't swallow because my esophagus was swollen. There's another part of your throat that can get swollen. The epiglottis was swollen. I think that's what it's called. It was horrible. I was in the hospital for about 5 days just trying to figure out what was going on and just get pumped full of antibiotics and steroids so that I could swallow and breathe. So God was good and was gracious, and I got through that, because prior to going to the hospital, I was sick off and on for probably 6 months of just cold symptoms that just would not go away. And that was very scary, but we got through it. It wasn't COVID. It was just, I kind of figure out later what was going on, most likely. So got over that, moved out to the country, and we've been out here this is going on, I'm really bad with time, a year? Yes, a year and like a month, because about a year now. Sorry. We moved out here about a year. Let me turn my page. There we go. Yes, moved out to the country about a year ago. We're loving the house. I'm still struggling with figuring out what I want to do with it. Our livable area is about 1,400 square feet currently, but by the time we get like the basement finished and convert the garage, it's going to be a pretty decent sized house. And I'm not the greatest at figuring out what to do with space and decorating stuff, and I'm awful at it. So, maybe the Lord will provide somebody who's really good with that to come in here and, fix my disasters. Once I kind of get it at least presentable, I would love to do like a tour of my home, but that might, who knows how long that might be at this point. I am still homeschooling my kids. I have 3 kids now. I have a daughter, Evelyn, a son named Samuel, and a new baby boy named Ben. He was born in March, and he's 4 months old. So 3 kiddos now, which is very exciting and very fun. I love my baby boy is just like the perfect little guy. He is so smiley, so sweet. 2 big old dimples, big bright eyes, and red hair. So that's wild. He's amazing. I love him so much. And my oldest daughter's 9 now, and she's starting to transition into that phase of life where she's basically a teenager mom. We're having those hormone changes that are making her very, big in her emotions. And so I've been teaching her some coping skills that I've been using myself on how to stay calm and think things through before reacting. So, and then my middle son, Sam, is apparently a savant and a very high IQ child. We went through that process, and yeah, that checks. He is a lot of work, and I think the therapist described it as a 10-year-old brain in a 5-year-old body. So he has big ideas and wants to execute those ideas, but he is very small and has access to only certain things. And so he's got to get creative to get from point A to point B. The boy has tried to build a winch out of cardboard boxes and a whole bunch of things he's found in the trash, and has managed to climb up on top of my refrigerator, taken apart my vacuum cleaner to see how it worked, and then tried to use some of the parts of the vacuum cleaner to build something. So, yeah, it's hard. Legos are expensive. They're not doing the trick right now. So he's a lot of excitement and fun, and I've been loving homeschooling my kids, finally finding a curriculum that worked for them, and yeah, just very, very happy. So before my baby was born, my middle son, Sam, was attacked by a dog, and that was the most horrifying experience ever as a mother that I've ever went through, and I never want to go through it again. And I am personally, he's had some trauma from it, obviously, but even I have had to deal with some trauma because the same dog had bit me once. But just, I'll hear that scream occasionally, just randomly, and it's horrifying. And it was the neighbor's dog who did not have control of their dog, and my son was on his tricycle, and it ran, and it just bit him in the side, knocked him over, and I heard him scream. I was in my kitchen at the time because my kids were outside playing, and I could see them in the kitchen just fine because I have a window to the backyard, and the woman next door came over screaming and cursing at my son, calling him all kinds of derogatory names and swear words right in his face, and literally like spitting out of her mouth and pointing her finger and threatening to, hoping that a horse kicks him in the head because he's such a, R word. I don't even want to say it. And horrible, horrible things while I'm holding my son who is bleeding and hurting. And yeah, calling me all kinds of names. Names that I would never repeat. If you think of the worst thing, she definitely said it. And, saying that, calling me a fat, lazy cow who doesn't take care of my kids because they shouldn't have been out there. It's like, well, we're out in the country and it's my backyard, and your dog shouldn't have ran across the property and you didn't have control of it. We should be able to use our outside just fine. So it was a whole ordeal. I did not call the cops. I reported it to the doctor. He is okay. Because of that situation that happened, one of the suggestions that we were given was to get my son a dog. And I know that kind of sounds counterintuitive, but it makes sense, because after having a dog bite, if you don't keep the exposure with dogs and you hide and you run from it, he could end up with a fear of dogs for the rest of his life. And I really don't want that to be the case. So we had prayed and prayed for the perfect dog. We thought about even investing, like the $500 something to get a golden retriever, just to make sure the dog was calm and good for my son. But we ended up checking out the shelter, and this sweet girl is the most perfect dog I have ever had in my life. Her name is Junie. My son wanted to name her Junebug, but this was the compromise, so I'm not naming a dog Junebug. So her name is Junie, and she is we got a DNA test on her because I had no idea what this girl was. she's just kind of wild looking. If I figure out how to put pictures in, I'll try to put a picture of what she looks like. But she's like, she's an Australian Shepherd, Great Pyrenees, and Lab mix. She has like the body of a Pyrenees, but she's brindle, if you know what that is, that kind of like tiger stripy wave color. And then she definitely has like a lot of the characteristics of an Australian Shepherd. She's a very beautiful dog. And so she's been a blessing to our family, especially to help my son cope with the dog attack. So we got through that. They are best friends. He loves her. She's very cuddly. If you don't pet her, she'll actually like tap your arm to get your attention, or on your leg and be like, hey, I'm here, I want love. I have hardly had to train her. I've trained her a little bit, but she naturally is inclined to protect my kids, and I'm sure that's the Pyrenees in her. We had that same dog because we now have a fence up to keep that dog away in the area where my kids play on the 5 acres, and that dog showed up, and Junie just reacted immediately. She went right over to the fence. Like, it ran up to the fence snarling. She went up and she slammed her front paws down as hard as she could, and she gave out the deepest guttural woof I've ever heard. It was a warning. It was intense. You could feel it. And that dog stopped in its tracks, and she went closer to the fence, and she stomped again, and she did that same woof, but a little more growly, and it went running back to its owner. And then she went and she did a check on both of my kids outside. So this girl she's smart. She's an angel. She is straight from heaven. Because I didn't train her to do that. She just knows. She knows who her kids are, and she loves them to death. So recently, after I had my baby, I noticed that I was struggling more than normal. I knew I had a history of postpartum depression. When we were taking my son through some of the testing, ADHD came up and we're pretty sure he has it. He haven't finished going down that road yet. So when talking with the doctor about it, he said that a lot of times it's genetic, and so he wanted just to see if I did the testing for ADHD, what would happen, because I have struggled with being overstimulated pretty much my whole life. I'm extremely sensitive to noise. I mean, it's not just, things are loud. It's more like it hurts and it gives me migraines, and certain pitches will just pierce right through and shake and rattle inside of my skull. And it's very physically painful. I've had, there's a lot of other things, what's called inattentive ADHD, that I have had to go through. And when I went through all of the testing and we went through all that, turns out I do have ADHD. So a lot of my problems have revolved around having that. And ADHD is not just like an emotional, you're lazy, you don't get things done, because that's not what it is. And I've had to fight through some of that stigma myself, and I'm still fighting through it, because I was told that my whole life, but that's not what it is. I won't get into it in the video, but if you're curious, you can look up what it is exactly. It is a developmental neurological disorder. It is not a mental health thing. There's a lot of mental health issues that come from the ADHD. So because of it and being untreated my whole life, and now my brain being wired a certain way and never unwiring, because it is developed now to cope in the ways that I have had to learn, I have always had high stress levels in my body, high cortisol levels. Through blood work, we found all that out. And when you have chronic high stress, it makes you very vulnerable to infection and getting sick, and your body can't fight infections very well. So we're pretty sure that that's what was causing some of the stuff prior, is that after having my son and going through the move and all of this high stress stuff building and building and building, that my body just finally said I had enough. My body could not hold it anymore. I got, a cold, and it hospitalized me. So this is just my word for you. Stress is real. It has real physical effects, and it can definitely make or break your body. Some stress is good, chronic is not. So I am on medication now, and it has been, that first day I took it, I cried because the noise in my brain finally was quiet for once. I could think. I could hear without being in pain. I could, you know, a lot of my sensitivities to like texture and light, and, you know, I didn't have the migraines, and I didn't feel like my nerves were being, my spinal cord was being scratched constantly. It's the best way I can describe it, of just this, that much stress in your body. And it all went away, and I've been on it for almost a month, and it has been just insanely amazing, and I'm so thankful that we figured out what was going on. So that is about all that has been happening. It was 20 minutes. I'm sorry if that was long. It won't be this long in the future. I'm just trying to catch up. So I will move on to cross stitch. I'm not going to bother editing a transition because I just want to try to get through it as best I can without getting lost. So I have been still cross stitching, and one of the cool things is that I think I finally figured out what I like. You know, it's part of the struggle, is not really knowing what sorts of patterns you like or what types of things you like, and I think I nailed it. So I'm going to just start with my most recent finish, which if you saw my kooky weird Instagram post, I know it was corny, and that was kind of the point. I was being a goofball, so there you go. I put that on Instagram, so if you saw that, you probably saw what I was working on, and I was just about finished. So I have been working on, let me see, I hope it's not backwards, but I have been working on Pansy Patch, Quilts, and Stitchery's Summer Garden at Cranberry Manor by Lori Pengelly. That's a beautiful last name, Pengelly. I fell in love with this, I think it was around Christmas time, because I think it was on sale at one point around Christmas time, and oh my goodness, I saw this. I absolutely loved the colors. It was gorgeous. So I have been poking at it and working hard, and I finished it, which is crazy because this is my first fancy floss and fancy linen finish that I've ever done. And so here it is. Let me see if I can't use this behind it. See if that helps to kind of help it. Oh, that does help, yeah. There she is. I feel like I did a really good job for working with linen. So I used all of the called for flosses, which are, I think they're mostly, I think they're just kind of a mix of a lot of them, I'm not sure. So I did not have access to the linen, called for linen, so I chose Weeks Dye Works Beige because it seemed like a safe option. I don't have a needlework store where I live. That's like not 4 hours away, so I go online and I kind of rely on 123 Stitch because I'm a chicken and haven't ventured out farther than that. And their pictures on that website, I don't know if it's just me, but they're terrible. It does not look anything like the photos, so it's kind of been a coin toss with some of the things I've bought, and I don't have a lot of budget towards this. This is like, you know, Christmas presents and gift cards that I use for my cross stitch because it's expensive, and I have 3 kids and I homeschool, so I don't have a job. So this was just so special to finish. It's so special to finish because this was, you know, something that my husband, you know, budgeted out for me to get, and that is extremely special. So here are the flosses. Oh, they're classic colorworks. Most of them are classic colorworks except for one, which is a Weeks Dye Works. And they're very pretty. The cranberry color is not on here. I pulled it for something else for the future. So there's that one. I'm probably just gonna frame it because it's perfect. It's a square, and I know that I've seen square frames at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. So, let me show you this. This mug, my husband got this for me while I was in the hospital delivering my son because he thought it was hilarious. It's official. You're awesome. Thanks, honey. It's good to know. While I'm, pushing a baby out, that's great. He is so funny. So my next finish that I have done, I'm not going to do all of them today. I'll save some for another video. So the next one I'm going to show is the Old Crow Saltbox by Pinker. Oh, I didn't write it down. Why didn't I write this down? I'll put it in the description. I will make sure I put it all in the description. The Old Crow Saltbox. Yes, I wrote down the name and I didn't write down I can't even say it. It's such a weird Pink Quilting or something like that. Again, isn't this cute? I love sunflowers. It made me think of, Kansas and living here and just so adorable. So the floss, you can kind of see it on the house. I didn't do it for the stems. So the floss on the two yellows, I overdyed some DMC for that. I did that myself. I was very proud of myself for doing that. Just because for funsies, I've been kind of experimenting with dyeing. Again, because I don't have a needlework store, so, I thought it came out really, really, really good for being, just overdyed DMC that I did in my kitchen. This was so much fun to stitch. I love them. I love these little cute little crows. It was very easy. It's super adorable. This is on 18 count fiddler's cloth that I dunked in some tea to try to darken it a little. Because fiddler's cloth is lighter than this, which you'll see here in a minute on my next one. But yeah, I have it cut into a square. I was kind of hoping I'd find a box, like a woodworking box or something to kind of stick on the top. If not, I'll just do it into like a little pillow, but really had fun. I was stitching this during the Super Bowl. I was working on this. So yeah, good memories with that. My little Super Bowl stitch I was working on. So my next finish, you might actually, if you knew me from Doodle and Strings, which I highly doubt, but if you knew me from Doodle and Strings, I was working on this and I had just recently finished it. And it is called The Good Shepherd by Sam Hawkins, which is, I have Emily, you were just using this a second ago. There, this is what I was using to this. Gentle Shepherd, yeah. ADHD, what? Gentle Shepherd by Sam Hawkins. I was given this this was given to me by my mother-in-law years ago when I was first kind of dabbling with cross stitch. She let me go through some of her old patterns and she had this. So this is it. Now, I changed a lot of the colors because it's an older pattern. So the blues and greens that they used to use that were kind of the popular ones back in, I think this is in the 90s. Yeah. 2001. Yeah. Back at that time were very cool toned blues and cool toned greens. And I don't necessarily, I like warmer toned things, I think, with cross stitch especially. So I changed the blues and the greens. I also changed Jesus's skin because he's white and he's not really white. I might be controversial to some people, but I mean, he was a Jew. So, so I darkened his skin a bit just because personal preference. It's what I liked, but here he is. I was kind of disappointed because I darkened his skin, but then I forgot to change the shadow tone, and I just didn't want to have to go take it out, so I didn't. So here he is. The Lord is my shepherd. This was really fun. I'm not a full coverage person. I'm coming to learn that I just don't like full coverage. I don't like confetti. But for being kind of more of a full coverage, it's not really that much confetti. There's large spots here, like here, of one color with a little here. And, you know, this section with his shawl was a little wonky, but, you know, it was really fun to do. The lamb, I did not like doing the lamb because if you look, they're so similar. And if you don't have good lighting, good luck figuring out where the shadows go here. But I really hope everything's not backwards. If it is, I'm so sorry, and I will adjust next time. So yeah, there he is. He's all cut out and ready to go on some sticky board. My husband's really handy with wood and a saw, so he told me he would cut frames whenever I was ready for him to cut frames and cut them down to the size. So like this, I have it all kind of ready about where I want the size of the sticky board and batting to be, that this will fold around. Or something like that. I really need to write things down because I don't have a good memory. I clinically don't have a good memory. So I absolutely loved this. This is so pretty. I have a perfect spot on my wall where my kids can see it because my daughter really likes it. She wanted it in her room, and I said no because everybody should enjoy it. Silly girl. So those are my finishes that I'm going to share this time. I'm going to move on to what I'm working on. So one of my big whips that I have going on here all of my cross stitches are very special. I'm realizing more and more that when I get them, it's, you know, very sentimental. That's a good word. So this is called Name of Jesus by My Big Toe Designs, and this pattern was purchased for me by my husband and my children for Christmas one year. It was when we were in the townhouse. It was a few years ago. It's big, and when they bought it for me and I looked at what it was going to require to get the fabric and the floss, I was going, this is going to be $100+ just to get the called for fabric and floss. And there is no way that I can do that or justify that in my mind. So I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. I had actually ordered some Silks for You floss, but that was a whole ordeal, and I'm probably never going to order from them again because it was a bad experience. So kudos to everyone who has had good experiences. Mine was terrible. And so again, waited. And then for my anniversary this last year, my husband told me to order the fabric and the floss for this design. But again, I couldn't in my mind justify spending $100 plus, would have been more than $100 plus on threads and fabric. So through my cross-stitching journey and watching more Flosstube and learning more about linen and stuff, I decided to try 40 count because I knew mathematically if I did 40 count, it could get a smaller piece of fabric and I could use way less threads. So it would be more like 50 something to get the, sorry, I keep looking the wrong way. 50 something to get the fabric and the floss. So, super special cross stitch, and I'm so excited to show you my progress. So this is, where's that pattern I was using to block that out? Here it is. It's coming up very yellowy. There we go. That's better. Kind of got like, let's see. There, go this side. There it is. I have a ring light. I'm trying to see if we can't cut some of these shadows out. So this is coming out really weird. There, that's pretty good to the color of the fabric and the threads. Right there, that's perfect. So I really like this. I did not use called for fabric. I did not use called for floss. The original design has, what is it called? What does it use? Let's see. My working copy, or I will lose my place. It uses 32 count raw natural Belfast linen. And I didn't like the tone of the Belfast. It was a little dark. I know what raw natural looks like, and I don't know. It doesn't look like that. So I wanted it to match the picture more because it didn't really look like the picture. But again, I don't have a needlework store, so I'm going off of the internet, which is a terrible, terrible method of going off of. So I took the risk. Oh, I could not believe how nervous I was to spend, you know, the $50 on this linen and threads and not having like a definitive. And I checked so many websites to like compare and contrast the colors. And it all worked out, and I do like all of the things that I got. So I'm stitching this on 40 count latte by Fiverr on a Whim. And the only thing that was a little, I don't know, is that my needle flopping around? Yeah, it's okay. The only thing that was a little disappointing is that there is some green tones in here. And that was a little like, oh no. I don't like it when it has the green. But I don't think it's that major at all. To me, it's not really. I mean, it's there, but I think it'll be okay. I can't not stitch on it, and I can't really go back. So, you know, God is good and gracious, and it's gonna look fine. So I chose, there's two colors throughout the whole thing, a brown and a red, and it originally called for pecan pie and cranberry. And I was gonna stick with the pecan pie, but 123 Stitch did not have pecan pie in stock at the time, so they have like the possible substitutions, and it recommended Weeks Dye Works Havana, so that's what I grabbed. And then for the red, I chose the Gentle Art Sampler Threads Country Redwood. It does not look like that in the light. That is not even close. Let me see what we can do. It does not look like that. Turn this off. Dark. Even then it doesn't look like that. It is way more browny. Let's see something. I don't know why it's not. Let's see if I get closer if it'll. If that'll. It's coming out very pink and very bright. It's not really. That's a little better, kind of like in here, where it's a little darker. It is a brownishy red. Turn this back on. Fancy. It's a brownishy red. It's very, so, let's see what this does. Here's my finish. I don't know if you can see the difference in tone. See, this would have been more the bluey that the original pattern was. Not this one, but anyway, it's a little more of a brown red. It is very beautiful. It is not pink like it's showing, more pinky. It's definitely more brown, a very basic red with some brown tones in it. So it's pretty. I'd never heard of that floss, but it was on there when I looked up reds, and I thought it was pretty, and I'm glad I went with it. It's even got like a little bit of orange tones to it, just very slightly. So if you need a good red that looks very, you know, antique-y, that has a lot of variegation in it, it has a lot of variegation in it, which is nice. Not like shocking, but you can see in my, like, this is all one color, all of the flowers and berries, but look at how different. You've got some like deep red ones, you've got some more lighter orangey red ones, some like really good brownishy red ones. Like, look at that. It's variegating so nice. And the same with the brown, like in the C's and the H and the letters. You can see how pretty that's looking. This linen is fabulous to work on. It's very, very smooth and supple to work on. And I've been having nothing but joys with the Name of Jesus, My Big Toe design. This is a big one. It's going to take me a while. I have some goals for it. It's 238 wide by 390 high. Yeah. It's big. But I kind of have it mapped out about how I'm going to tackle this. I don't want to show my working copy, but I'll show the back. So like if it's divided like this, I was going to try to tackle like a quarter of a page every month to 2 months. Like, or whatever is equivalent, but knowing, and if not like equivalent, meaning like there's a lot of different wording sections. So like I'll tackle this and then I'll tackle this because I like to do things in completion. Like I think the quarter page ends here, but I went ahead and went across to finish the word Christ. And then, you know, I'll tackle that and I'll just tackle all of these little motifs, these words, names as I go through. Let's see, now it's better in the packaging as I go through the chart. So big and exciting. I don't have many whips, so I know that this video is kind of going long and I apologize, but I don't have that many to share, so don't fret. It'll be over soon, I promise. So the next three that I'm working on, I will preface this. I was only, when I was in Canada, and I don't know if people who remember in those videos, there was an older lady who gave me like a huge box of her old cross-stitch stuff, and a lot of it wasn't really even usable anymore because we're talking like pieces of Aida that she saved that are like this big and, you know, kind of not in great shape. In that box, she had what she said were her working copies of some patterns because she had given the actual patterns to her friend as a gift because her husband had passed away and she was leaving her house and needing to go to a assisted living apartment. So she had her working copies. Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh my goodness, you shouldn't use those. That's, you know, copyright stuff. Well, you know, I had no money. I didn't know any better at the time. And, you know, they're there. I could throw them out, but there's not that many of them. And I already had started a few of these. So I'm just going to finish them and, you know, to each their own. So the first one is, and I don't have if I find a picture and I figure out how to do pictures, I will put one up. The first one is called, my notes, Christmas Greeting. Yeah, Christmas Samplers 2, Christmas Greetings by the Prairie Schooler. And a lot of the ones she had were Prairie Schooler ones. So this is my progress. So the fabric is 32 count Lugana that I dyed myself. I thought I did a pretty good job. At the time, Hobby Lobby they were doing their 40% coupons where you can get an item for 40% off, and they actually were carrying like small pieces about this big of some like 32 count Luganas, 28 count Lugana, and at one point they even had like white linen. So I, again, not having a needlework store and trying to be as creative as possible, picked some up and some RIT dye, and I dyed this myself. The same with the red. So this red, you can see there's some variegation, is a red floss that I dyed myself. So, and then the other greens are just what was called for. And then this is like a brown. So the whole thing will say Christmas greetings. I'm sure you've probably seen it before, but that's my progress. I won't dwell on that too long. The next one is called Spring Samplers #3 by Prairie Schooler, and it's the middle one when you look at the pattern booklet. And I started this one, and again, this is on 32 count Lugana that I dyed myself. This is not a good dye job. This was terrible. But I'm not going to waste. So you can see that there's like white spots or lighter spots that definitely got left kind of in the middle. But I think it'll be fine. So I swapped out the pinks and I swapped out the yellows because I wanted everything I left to the blues and the greens. Or did I swap out the greens? I wrote it down. No, I did not swap out the greens. I wanted everything to be lighter and brighter than the original had. And again, warmer. So I swapped out both of these pinks and I swapped out both of these yellows because the sun was I think it was like ecru or something like that for the sun. It was very, very pale. And I wanted my sun to be very bright and happy. So swapped those out. So this is the top part of the pattern, and then this bottom part has like the rabbit and a basket and stuff at the bottom, and then it'll be done. So then my last one is called, which one is that? What's the, if I don't write it down, I would never, Hands On Designs, Chalk Talk, Let's Talk Autumn. And this is on 14 count, just black Aida, using all of the called fors. Now this was a pattern that she had bought for her granddaughter? I don't remember. Again, this is as far as I've got, so I did pretty good. It's been, you know, I don't think I like 14 count Aida very much. I don't like how see-through it is. I do like 16 count a lot. I don't know if I said on my Jesus, but this was stitched on 18 count fiddler's cloth. So I did like how that looked with that kind of old vintagey lookingness to it. So I do think that, like I said at the beginning, I'm realizing what I like and what I don't like, and I don't care for 14 count Aida. I'm gonna finish it because it's cute. I don't care for 14 count Aida. I like 16 count a lot, and I like stitching on Aida for certain things. There's certain designs that actually look better on Aida than on linen. I have a couple finishes in another video that I'll pull out, and I'll show some more of my finishes that I've been doing over the last few years. And I like some of the Halloween ones. I did them like a gray Aida, and it looked really good. I kind of like that burlappy. That's what I think of when I think of a lot of the Aidas. It's like, it looks like burlap sack, and it's so cool. So there's certain designs I think that it looks great on, and there's certain designs that I don't care for it. And just when stitching, I don't really like the 14 count. I don't know, I feel like the threads are, I don't know. I can't really describe why. I just prefer 16. I think it looks, it's the same with like the Lugana. I don't really like 28 count anything. If it calls for 28 count, I'll probably go down to 30 or 32. Because I like the way my stitches look on the slightly lower counts or higher counts. Ugh. So that is, oh, that's not all. So I didn't grab it. Did I grab it? Oh, so I'll try to hurry. I know this is like 48 minutes and my kids are on a ticking clock here. My husband's home today. I was going to share some, just a second. One second. Where did I put you? Here. There we go. Medicine fixes some things, but it doesn't fix everything. I was going to share some of the things that I was gifted this last Christmas. Yes, it was Christmas. Because this was like one of the, aside from the names of Jesus, I don't really get cross-stitch stuff for Christmas. And I keep telling people that's what I want, but I think it kind of scares them because they don't know what that means. So this year I actually got some stuff and I was very, very excited about it. I will go through this book my sister found. Of course she did. My sister loves anything. She either found it or was I with her when she found it? Were we together? I don't remember. So this is Land of Enchantment, a Stony Creek collection. This is not what I paid for. We got it at Half Price Books, which is like it's a half price bookstore here in Kansas. There's a few of them around. And so if you have them, check them, because you kind of have to look in the craft section in like the little magazine slots way at the bottom to find some of these. So look closely. I love this. I love this. This is what I love. And this is what I'm going to work on for my daughter. I absolutely adore this princess. And I'm so tempted to change her hair to be just like a light brown like my daughter's is instead of a blonde. She's light brown. I think I'm going to try because I don't think there's... I think I can do it. I think I could do it. So it looks like my daughter. But there is... the design is... It doesn't say who this is by. Because I think I looked all through this. It's just a Stony Creek collection, and I didn't see who the artist is who designed this. Yeah, it doesn't say who. Just a little disappointing that it doesn't say who. It should, because yeah, it just says Stony Creek Collection. So the way that this is done looks very familiar. Maybe Joan Elliott-esque. Very, very similar to her type of stuff. There's Mill Hill beads down here in the chart that I'll have to see if I can't find. If not, I'll do it without. And again, I wanted to stitch this. It uses a bunch of DMC. I haven't purchased the DMC because there's a lot of them. And again, I don't have a needlework store. I decided it's originally stitched on 14 count. 14 count? Yes. 14 count. And so I decided to, again, I like 16 count. So I took a piece of 16 count and I did my best. And this is what I'm going to stitch it on when I get ready. Now, kind of came out kind of cool. I intentionally put some purple in there. I mean, again, it's uneven. Would I ever sell anything? No, never. But for me, for my personal use, sure, why not? So this is the linen piece, the 16 count Aida. It's already pre-cut and ready for her whenever I have the DMC to do her. And so that was really fun. So for Christmas, my grandmother got me a couple of kits that I bumped everything. Slow down, don't tip over. To do. So this is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit called Woodland Magic, which is mushrooms, and I love mushrooms. This is so fun. However, it came with white 14 count Aida, or 16 count Aida. I didn't like the white. I kind of wanted to do it like on a light tan, and of course I ruined it bad. It was not a light tan, it was a full-on brown. So I'll have to I'm thinking of just finding like some sort of raw natural color, although I'm sure it's going to be similar to these stems, so I have to be careful about what I find. Or even just like an off-white would have been better to me. Just an off-white, a cream, something. And maybe even linen for something like this instead of just white Aida. I think I would like better. Like a ivory Lugana would be perfect, and I would have a lot of fun stitching. It's probably what I should do. Just do an ivory Lugana and call it a day. So I am excited to stitch this. This is definitely up my alley. The back stitching, if you don't like back stitching, this is not for you. I don't know if I don't like back stitching. This will be a good test to find out how much I don't like it, or how much I do like it. So yeah, there's that one. She also got me another kit by Design Works. I don't have the Aida here because I was washing it. I'm going to use the called for Aida even though it's 14 count, just because it's already ready to go, and I wanted to sew around the edges and wash it because it's super stiff. So this is Design Works, the name is not, Symphony Bouquet. There it is. So my grandmother got me this for Christmas, and it's super beautiful. Again, there's a lot of backstitch. I can't remember which floss tuber I was watching, but she was doing an exchange with some of her friends where they were passing pieces they were working on to each other to finish. If you know who I'm talking about, comment it below, because I don't remember. If I don't write it down, I won't remember it. So I'm basically Dory. Pretty much. So the back stitching on here, I don't like how dark it is because I think it's just a brown. I'm kind of tempted to maybe find like a redishy pink color or a brownishy red, something that's not so just outliney. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I don't know when I will tackle these. I don't know if that's even going to be this year or what, but I'm a bit intimidated. It's kind of full coveragey. That scares me a bit. It's a lot of commitment. So yeah, I'm going to pause the video real quick. Okay, I have no idea how jarring that pause is, but yeah. Sorry, my baby woke up and he was crying. My husband's here to help out, to take care of him, so trying to get through the screaming. You might still be able to hear him. So the next thing that I was gifted was another Dimensions Gold collection, and my husband said the only reason he put this in the gift, part of the gift, is that he found it on clearance somewhere, and it was, you know, $15. And I know these are not that cheap, and so he's like, oh, I felt like I just should grab it. I don't know if you do this ever, but yeah, it is the Rocky Point Lighthouse. I have no idea if I will do this. I don't know yet. It's intimidating. I know there's like tent stitches, and I think that's what it's called, tent stitching in here. I don't know. But yeah, so he got me this. He wasn't sure if this was something I would enjoy or not. I don't know if I'll enjoy it or not. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. If I decide that this is not for me, then I'm going to give it away. So whether it's on this channel or whether I have one friend that does live sort of close by that I would definitely like send it to her, that she does do the full coverage stuff. So she might totally be down for doing this. I would ask her first. So there's that one that was gifted to me. So another one that my husband found that was given to me for Christmas was, sorry, it's my other son. Can you go back with daddy? Thank you. He just woke up from his nap. Yeah, I'm running out of time here. So, this is Cinnamon Hearts Needleworks Cranberry Village Sampler. He said he found this at the Half Price bookstore, and he knew it looked kind of older and more vintage. Let's see, when is this published? 1986, so before I was born. And it's cute. think it's cute. Some of these older ones I don't really like very much, but this is pretty dang cute. And it uses DMCs, but I have some Cranberry by Classic Color Works, I think, or is it the Gentle Arts? I don't know. One of them. I have the color Cranberry, and since that's kind of the majority of what's used is this cranberry red color, I thought it could be fun to...
Remember the cake. You forgot it.
I didn't forget, but I need you to go where your dad is.
What?
In the other part of the house.
What part?
Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. So yeah, so this will be fun. I will definitely do this at some point. So there's that. And then the last one I have that was a gift was from my sister. She went on a trip south through Arkansas and the Ozarks, and my sister likes to go on road trips. So while she was out, she went by the cross stitch store in Branson, and she found this Kathy Barrett's The Mill House. Now, here, let me show the back. She's pretty sure that this is a real location that she went to go look at while she was driving around down through the Ozarks and through Arkansas and stuff. So when she saw that and she saw this, she got really excited. She's like, I'm pretty sure I was just there. That's so cool. There's a cross stitch. Now, I mean, Kathy Barrick would know. I don't know if it's the same mill house or not. The pictures she took and the picture of this are identical, so I'm guessing. But it doesn't actually say in the pattern that of like where this was. So if it is, that's really cool. I'm planning on stitching this, and I'm going to give it to my sister and help her so that she has like a little commemoration of her trip. And I might even just put at my sister's name and then the year she went and visited, especially if I can find out if this is the same. I can't remember where in Arkansas, but if this is the same place that she went. And I'll put, put my sister's name, and then I'll put the date, the year she went on that little trip. So that will be, and she already knows that I'm going to do that. So if she sees this, it's not a surprise. I kind of assumed that when she bought the pattern, she wanted it. So I have a little tiny bit of haul, and then I will wrap this up. So my first bit of haul is I had saved up some money to be able to get some patterns. I can't like kit everything out all at once. I just, I don't have that means to do it. So the first thing that I bought off of 123 Stitch was called the Prairie Life Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. I'm excited to stitch this one up. This was very sentimental to me because of our move and moving to Kansas. I know this is based off A Little House on the Prairie. I didn't read those books when I was younger. They might have been read to me, but yeah, I didn't read those books. So, okay, buddy. So, my plan for this is I want to change the people in here to be my husband, me, my daughter, and then adjust these to look like my little boys. And then put my initials and my husband's initials in here, and then change the dog's name to Junie, and just leave out the names of the horses. And then I also want to somewhere in here hide a little Canadian flag, like in any of these spaces. I might even do it 1/1. Just hide a little Canadian flag in here to kind of represent our time spent in Canada. And then, yeah, have that as like a little representation of our family, because there was just so much stuff in here in these motifs that represented us. My husband loves coffee, and I play the violin, and we play lots of instruments, and the stitching, and my husband's an arborist, so all of the pine trees in the forest and cabiny stuff is definitely his sort of thing, and you know, it just seemed to really fit perfect, and I couldn't not get it. I didn't intentionally get linen for it because, again, 123 Stitch, their pictures are just atrocious. One of the linens I bought was Russian Tea Cakes by Access Commodities. Yeah, Russian Tea Cake Legacy Linen by Access Commodities. It looks like a grayish, a very light grayish brown. This is not a very light grayish brown. This is just white. This is off-white. This is just an off-white to me. It's just off-white. This is not what I was hoping. However, it certainly would not work too bad for this, would it? I don't think so. And this calls for 35 count, and this is 37 count. So, and it's about the right size, you know, because the Access Commodities cuts it, has those kind of wide rectangular cuts. They're more almost square, but not quite square. Yeah, happy accident. So I think I'm going to just use this linen for that sampler because I think it will fit just perfect. So now I just need to get the flosses at some point for it, or do the DMCs. I'm not really sure, but I would like to do the flosses if I can, but we'll just have to see. So there's that one. I just want to put this linen with it. This linen feels great, by the way. Access Commodities. Like, there's no modeling in it or anything, but legacy linens, I guess, a lot of people like them. I have no clue. This is my first one ever touching or seeing or owning. There are some, I can see that there's some schlubs, some bigger slubs in here. So if you don't like that, well, my piece has a lot of them, so you probably won't like this, but it's pretty and it feels very, very, very soft and, I don't know, good drape, a balanced drape. So my next purchase that I got was Eliza Ann Scott 1847 by Dames of the Needle. So this one's going to be exciting to do. I didn't really know what I was getting into with this. It was on sale and I thought it was adorable. There's a lot of fancy flosses in this one, so no idea when I will get to this or if I'll try to sit and do look through, try to match on the picture some DMCs. I may try to do that. I don't know. But I do have it. I bought a piece of linen, 40 count platinum, and I will here explain why I have these just random pieces of linen, because there was a reason to the madness. This is 40 count platinum. I had, again, no idea based off of the internet what exactly that was going to look like, because it's hard to tell. I figured that it was just kind of a neutral, and I love this neutral. This is amazing. This is like my color. Perfect neutral. It's not too yellowy, it's not too pinky, it's just the perfect neutral. So I'm glad I have that, and I'll definitely have that for something. So the other thing I got was a bigger piece of linen. I don't necessarily know. Oh, that's why I got it. I got this. This is for this pattern. So the Millhouse is stitched on 36 count Legacy. I got a 40 count Legacy. And I got a bigger piece of it so that I would have some left. And I'm sure you know what Legacy looks like, so, you know. I was not thrilled with it. I know a lot of people love this color. It's Legacy by... didn't say. Oh, Picture This Plus. Legacy by Picture This Plus. I know a lot of people like Legacy. I just don't think I like the green when, that's my son in the background, I'm sorry. I don't think I like the green in the linens when linens have this grenishy tint. I don't know why, it's just preference, I guess. I don't much care for, and I don't necessarily care for the heavy modeling. I like things to be very soft. If there's modeling, it to be just a very gentle, and I don't necessarily like the greeny, but it is what the Millhouse is called for, so I went ahead and picked it up. But I did get 40 count because I do seem to like, I enjoyed stitching on the name of Jesus on 40 count, so I went ahead and did that and bought that piece, and I know it's bigger than what I need, so I'll be able to use some of the bits for something else. So my special purchase from this is another big one, and I knew it was big, and I knew that this was going to be insane, and why I decided to do it I don't know, but I could not get this. It's called A Savior's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. Now, I debated this so much. It went out of my cart, went in my cart, out of my cart. But it called to me. Like, it hit a very emotional part of me when I read the verse. And I will actually go ahead and read it. It says, "Now think we all are God, with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things has done, in whom this world rejoices, who from our mother's arms has blessed us on our way, with countless gifts of love, and still is our sin." I'm getting like a little bit choked. "What words, what voices can we bring? Which way our accents raise, to welcome thy mysterious King, and sing a Savior's praise?" So that like definitely triggered some emotional in me, especially that first part, "Now think we all are God, with hearts and hands and voices, whose wondrous things has done, in whom this world rejoices. From our mother's arms has blessed us on our way, with countless gifts of love, and still is ours today." And I think that gets me because my husband and I do worship music at church. And we've done that our whole marriage. And recently we did a special little song with our kids, and they sang along with us, and I read that, and it really just, made me think, I am investing music and praise and worship into my kids' life, and that's all I want for them, is to sing our Savior's praise their whole life. And if you look through here, oh, this is going to be so much fun. It's like, you think you see everything until you look more, and then you see more, and then you look more again, and then there is more. It's just everywhere. There's little tiny words, and the fruit of the Spirit, and little like mini scenes. Like, the ship is beautiful. I love the ship, and I know this is going to be crazy to do. Oh, every time you look, it's just like, look at this, guys. You keep looking, and there's just more. Look at these flowers. There's a house. Look at bees. I didn't even notice the bees last time. Look at the little bees. And, this little dog, and like, you just keep going, and it's a never-ending just exploration of all kinds of just beautiful little, it's the world, guys. It's the world, all in this border and everything, and it's so lovely. It's so lovely. In every single way is it beautiful. And I'm going to put my kids in this. We're going to do our family. I'm going to do my kids. All three of my kids and my husband and I in here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. But there will not be 6. We're done. Unless I get some sort of surprise. And ironically, I just had to get it. It's too perfect. So this is going to happen. The linen is the problem. That's going to have to wait for a little bit, although my husband told me that we would find a way. So It's on 40 Count Beach Brew by R&R Productions, and it's gonna have to be a big old piece. I think it's gonna have to be like a fat half or something, because this is massive. This is 313 by 317, so it's not a joke. But I really want to start it. It just looks like so much fun. I had actually messaged somebody on Etsy, independent dyer. Did I write down? I might have written it down. I'm not gonna remember if I didn't write it down. It's 40 Count False Start by number 12 Stitch Co. Or number 2 Stitch Co. Number 12 Stitch Co. Bad handwriting. I've been eyeballing that. So whenever the time comes, I think I'm going to do that. I messaged her and I told her, like, I don't have a needlework store near me. I have no idea what any of this looks like. The internet said that 40 Count Beach Brew by R&R is similar to this DMC. Is your fabric kind of in that same ballpark? Because I definitely, worst case scenario, I'm going to do it on platinum because I like platinum. So if anybody has suggestions for fabric that's 40 count that is similar to platinum with maybe light modeling, it doesn't even have to have modeling, and I may just end up getting platinum and doing it. It's just that her piece is just about the perfect size that I need, and it has light modeling in it, and I would rather put my money towards a person trying to do this out of their house. I know 123 Stitch is probably it's family owned and all that stuff, I'm sure, but still, I'd rather support the little guy, the littler guy. So I did get some of the floss. It does call for some fancy floss, which was also why I was excited about it, because it's not all fancy floss, it's just some. These were the fancy flosses that it wanted. These Week Dye Works were some of them. And it's Week Dye Works Grits, Whiskey River Rocks, and Teal Frost. You can see, I can kind of see where the teal and anything that looks kind of purpley is going to be the River Rocks. Now, I looked through the pattern and I had decided that I think I want to swap out a few of the anchor flosses, because I won't do anchor, I'll do the DMCs, and then some of the DMCs I wrote down that I think I want to switch with some over dyed. Not all of them, just some of them. So, where these big green spaces are, it's 1 or 2 DMCs. I'm considering replacing it with an over dyed and the trees and stuff to give it just a little more movement. It was mostly the greens, because I think I had written down pea pod, a red, because there's a lot of this red in here, and this is all one color. I kind of would like to use, I actually have the red. I had a Cranberry by Sampler Threads, so that seems ishly close. This is what 123 Stitch recommended as one, but it's purpley red, and I wanted a red, so I think this will work just fine. So this was also left over from the Cranberry house, so there you go. That will be what I'm going to do. So definitely the red, definitely some of the greens, and then one of the it's not important, but, and this is already long, so I'm sorry, but if you're bored. But these deer, I want to, this is just a DMC. I think I want to do what did I write down? Cocoa bean? Or, no, that's not it. I don't remember. I can't read my own handwriting, but I want to Yeah, it is cocoa bean. Yes, cocoa bean. It's whatever I wrote down to replace 3021, DMC 3021. So just replace that with a overdyed to give it some variegation. And then there was toasted barley for some of these like tan sections. The lighter tan sections that are kind of scattered, like the door of the house. And because it surely looks almost like it's an overdyed, but it's showing a DMC. Unless anchor thread has variegation to it, which I don't think it does. Yeah, like the boat there. So, yeah, that's my plan when I get around to it. So when I figure out the linen, I'll throw in those flosses and I'll pull DMC from my stash and I will start this. I don't know when. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I'm eager to jump into that particular stitch. So, yeah, I believe that's it. I believe that is all that I have to share. Thank you for hanging with me for this, hour and 20 minutes. I hope those pause breaks weren't too jarring. I probably won't even bother just watching through this. I'm just going to post it. Otherwise, I may not ever get it done, and I want to make sure it's done. So bear with me if it's a little rough. I will figure this out as time goes on. So thank you for joining with me. Thank you for being understanding of my absence and understanding of some of my projects and why they are being worked on from that little old lady in Canada. So I did want to end with, I have these Power from the Word cards, and I was going to read one, which definitely goes with the Savior's Praise. So if you don't want to listen, that's fine. I will catch you here in about 2 weeks, but I'm going to go ahead and read this. So, the joyful sound. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. Psalm 89:15. Glad tidings of great joy. That's what the angels call the gospel message. This is what is here spoken of as the joyful sound. That blessedness consists in God's people walking in the light of God and rejoicing in his name all day. Undisturbed fellowship, everlasting joy is their portion. It is the heritage of all who are seeking to love God with all their heart and with all their strength. The deeper we seek to enter into the Father's will for us, the stronger will the assurance come that what God has meant for us will be wrought through Christ. I'll see you in a couple weeks.